Welcome everybody to week 6 uSTADIUM uFantasy live show. I'm Chris. That's Stefan. Got it right this time.
Yes,
How is it going, brother? How you doing?
it's good. It's like deja vu all over again. Weren't we just up for a 9:30 game in London or in somewhere now? I feel like we're back at it again. So
Oh yeah,
it's
this
pretty
game,
good.
this game a little slower. It's good to see Tua back out there on the field. Waddle's having a decent day, but I think that's about it fantasy wise. Other than if you played Miami's DST, right?
Exactly. And Gaiseki has like I think a few little
He's
good
got a few
yards here,
catches.
but
Yeah, I think he's got 40 something yards. He had that one nice catch there in the first quarter, I believe it was. So it's good to see football on early, enjoying it with my breakfast. I don't usually get to do that. It's usually a lunchtime thing. So
it's
having
little
my
things.
coffee, bacon, and eggs with the side of football, man, it doesn't get no better than that, especially on a nice. For me, it's brisk. For you, it's probably in Florida. Plus,
Actually, no, it's 70,
it's
74 right now. I think it's got a cold brisk. Tom Brady did tweet out yesterday he's ready for the fall, and I think the guys are hearing.
so Florida
Tomorrow,
gave it to him, eh?
yeah, tomorrow's 68 degrees, so I can't complain. I'm okay with the hot weather or the cold weather because it's been too much heat.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take the heat, man. It's about to snow where I am soon, so
I
I
like the
would.
snow personally, though.
Yeah, I like looking at it through my window, but driving in it kind of sucks. But that doesn't matter right now. We got a packed show. We're gonna give you guys our starts and sits for the week. We got guest Luke Sawhook joining us at about the 20-minute mark. So get your questions in early and often. We're gonna be answering all that we can. And if you can't, head over to the uSTADIUM app. Drop your questions in there, and we'll be sure to answer the ones that we don't get to. The app download is in the description as well. If you like the stream, or if you're liking the stream, make sure you hit the thumbs up, the like button, subscribe to the uSTADIUM YouTube page, and you can get all the shows. I mean, we just dropped Sunny at Snacks and Sunny. That's a big one. Very good content there. Snacks is absolutely hilarious. They got this dropped the play action. They got play like a jet. Zach's got his university not fantasy but university football show. A bunch of great content for you guys to enjoy, and almost I think every day there's something dropping, right?
Yep, we also got the sports desk on at 6 p.m. as
Yeah,
well. We have our
sports
waiver
desk here
wire
on
show
that
at
one, right?
8:30.
Yeah,
Yep, so you'll see me double down on Tuesday. So you'll see on the sports
attaboy.
desk and then jump on at 8:30 for the Tuesday waiver wires to help you guys win your leagues with some guys you might not know about.
Yeah, I like it. Good stuff. I mean, Jamal Agnew, man. Jamal Agnew started so good, started so hot.
I don't know why. Ever since that last week's show, I'm over here looking. I'm like, how many yards do they have returning yards? How many yards Jamal Agnew have? For some reason, I'm so enlisted now. I don't know.
I like it. You care about your takes, man. I like it. It's not just give the take and then watch it float off. You care, man.
Exactly.
That's what matters the most at the end of it, right? Let's get to some early questions. I know we got some questions on the app that we can pull up and answer for some of the uSTADIUM subscribers. Mount Becton, start Wentz against Houston. I think that's a yes. There's no doubt about it. You should be starting Wentz against Houston. Tiggsy, I know it's too late, but would you have played Waddle or Tony? For me, Jalen Waddle was the pick. I don't like the matchup Tony has going against the Rams. Brandon Kiernan, I'll let you take this one, Stefan. Cooks, Woods, or Tony?
I mean, right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the woods, right there. I don't want no Cooks. I don't want no Tony. The only guy I'm taking.
The puns come early. I love it.
Nice and early.
I love it. All right. So Jesse Rebo 1, Henderson or Gibson for flex, Hollywood or Woods for wide receiver 2. I like Gibson and Woods here. Hollywood, we're gonna get into Hollywood a bit later, but I like Gibson and Woods here. You like it?
I do. Honestly, though, I like Woods over Hollywood. Woods has been the guy. I think the matchup says more for him to be the receiver too. Gibson and Henderson is not too much of a difference. I'm leaning more towards Gibson because of the skill set, but don't sleep on Henderson. He's been a 15-point running back, RB2 numbers all year long, so you really can't go wrong with either one, but you have to go with Gibson, I think, this time.
Yep. Burrow or Kirk Cousins
Oh,
from Alan
Burrow.
Nassa 02. Joe Burrow there versus the Lions. Some people are saying it's kind of maybe a trap game for them, but man, the Lions aren't that great.
He has the easiest, also, if you guys are into these little stats, he has the easiest quarterback matchup of the week out of every quarterback because that Lions cornerback room is just the worst in the Bucks cornerback room right now. And it's not possible, but it is. So it's
like it. Seven Goats. How well is this team going to play this week? Can you scroll up there a bit for us? Rogers, Jefferson, Tony, Swift, Hubbard, Knox, Evans, not so good, and then Patterson. Oh, Patterson's on the bye; he's on his bench. I mean, you got a decent chance to win your week with a team like that. You got a lot of high upside guys. I mean, Dawson Knox has been a great surprise for a lot of fantasy owners who most likely picked him up off waivers at the beginning. So
he's like the Robert Tonyan of last year, a guy that comes out not too late, but like comes out a few weeks later, and he just has one of those crazy seasons. So if you have him on the waiver wire somehow, get him. If you don't have him in your lineup, put him in your lineup. That looks like to be the safety valve for Josh Allen as of right now.
Yep, I like it. Big red zone threat there for the Bills. Shed Sports, thanks for joining in. Noah Fant or Julio, half PPR, need to make a comeback after starting Brady Evans and Javonte. Julio's been healthy all week. I like the fact that he's in the game. I think they're going to get him the ball. So I'm okay with going Julio here.
Me too. Honestly, for my starting sits this week, I was so close to putting Noah Fant as one of my sits this week. AJ Brown, he's got kind of a limitation until week 10, they said. So I'd fire off Julio. I think even though there might be a competition who's healthier, I just think Julio sees more of the workload this week. AJ Brown, I think after week 10 will be a guy to start every week, but Julio half point all the way.
Yeah, and the Titans are kind of in the same position he is, where they need to start making some comeback wins. So they got to establish kind of a passing game and take a little bit of a load off Henry to help him out a bit. But
exactly.
Yeah, we're good with going with Julio there. Mike, RB, Swift or Herbert. So Khalil Herbert and wide receiver, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, Higgins, or Emmanuel Sanders. I like Swift over the Herbert start. Swift is a target monster. He has more receptions than wide receivers like DK Metcalf and DeAndre Hopkins. There's so many guys that this guy's beating in the receiving category. Although garbage time, you still take it, man. The Lions are going to be in a lot of those garbage time situations. So you play Swift there. And then for the wide receiver, you got two that you like over the others?
I like – this would be crazy here. Only because of the injury to Terry, A.J. Brown, those guys kind of scare me. The matchups are kind of not favoring them a little bit. But I would honestly go in this one, Emmanuel Sanders and Higgins. Like I said, I think Joe Burrow has the easiest quarterback schedule of the week. I think Higgins, I think Jamar Chase, all those guys are going to eat today. So I'm going Higgins, Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is more of a dark horse. He is looking like a favorite target. He's phasing out Cole Beasley. So if you had to choose one, I'd go Swift with you as well, and I'd go Higgins, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I like it. I'd probably lean towards Higgins and Keenan Allen just because of the Mike Williams injury throughout the week. We don't know how much of a snap share he's going to get. They still haven't said – they said he's playing. He's expected to play, but he's a true game-time decision depending on how he feels in warm-up. So I'm okay with both sides. Kevin Clark, Kadarius Toney, Chase Edmonds, or Adam Thielen. I'm going Adam Thielen here.
I'm going to go with Toney.
Yeah?
I want to see what he brings. I think after last week, I know Sterling Shepard's active this week. I know that Darius Slayton's not active and Galladay. So it just leads really them two. Shepard's not really the healthiest of the two either. So I'm just going to go by default. Toney, I think, has a decent day. Edmonds is still battling some kind of shoulder injury. He's still splitting carries with James Conner. So he's more of a TD-dependent guy. And he's one of those guys who hasn't scored in almost, I think, all season, right? It's been all season since he's scored anything. So if I had to rank them, Toney, Thielen, Edmonds is the last one. So,
okay, I kind of agree with that one. I think I'd flip Thielen and Toney there, but you're good. I think either way, starting one or the other, and Edmonds third. Ryan Potts, where would you set your expectations for Rashad Bateman? I'm excited for the guy coming in. He was big time producer in college. my expectations are going to be low at the beginning because I just don't know what to expect out of that passing game out of Baltimore. We saw Mark Andrews eat. We saw Marquise Brown eat. Is there going to be enough ball to go around to let Rashad Bateman eat? I don't know, man. It's gonna take away from one of the other two guys, if not both the other guys, if they try to force feed him the ball. So I would bench him this week. See you kind of the game plan. They don't have a positive matchup against the Chargers. So my expectations at the start are low for Rashad Bateman.
I totally agree with you on that one. It's just because of the injury. Anybody who wants to, rush a guy back, look at CMC. They rush him back. Look what happens. Just a setback. I'd rather you hold Bateman off. I think Bateman will be the target to be for Lamar Jackson. I think he takes off some of the rushing ability that he shouldn't be doing. I don't see him, like you said, being a guy this week, maybe even next week. They do want to ease him in. It's still kind of early for them. They're still 4-1. They're not rushing to bring him back. Hollywood Brown's producing. Watkins did go down. So Rashad Bateman could end the season on a high note, but I just think, like you said, take the caution. If you're the Ravens or you're a fantasy, put him on your bench for 2 weeks, watch him flourish. And if you feel good enough in 3 weeks, put him in your lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks for the question, Ryan. Mike B. Okay, so for flex, should I start Herbert, Higgins, or Sanders? I was thinking of starting Allen and Terry. Flex, I think I'm going T. Higgins here, man. Like it's T. Higgins or Sanders for me.
Oh yeah, I don't want to play favoritism to T. Higgins. I do have him in one of my leagues. I think that whole Cyrus Cincinnati offense this week will be good. I do like Higgins over Herbert, Sanders, and then you was thinking of telling Allen and Terry. I think I'll go with Allen as well too.
Yep. I like it, man. Keith Bronikowski, Pittman or Higgins, PPR. I love Pittman in that matchup versus Houston. I also love the matchup for Higgins. This is a tough choice for me. I'm gonna take Pittman here. I think with T.Y. Hilton coming back, it's gonna open up a bit of the field a little bit more for Pittman. He's been kind of the check down guy for Carson Wentz. So give me Pittman over Higgins this week.
Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go Higgins again. I'm going to double down on that take. I do like Pittman. Don't get me wrong. Looks like the number one receiver there. Again, I just want to keep hammering the head. Cincinnati is going to have a day receiving wise against that porous defense. So PPR Higgins, but if you have to Pittman, it's really who you favor more.
Yeah, they can both be affected by a negative game script because they both teams have the opportunity to be up quick. Therefore, taking a bit of the receptions away from the wide receivers, but they don't have to play catch up. But we're kind of on the fence with that one. Kevin Clark, I'm down a good bit, so I was thinking Tony, Devonta Smith, Brady, and now Robinson are really screwing me over. Yeah, Devonta Smith did not have a good day. Robinson has started this game kind of slow, but still have the Jaguars in a hole. And then Tom Brady. Who had a great first half, man. He was on fire the first half. I don't know what happened in the second half, but go Tony. He's got a lot of upside, man. The guy, he's quick on the feet. He's a good route runner. I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it at all, as long as he keeps his fists in his pocket.
Hey, no Andre Johnson, nobody this week, please. We need that. We need you out there. We're talking highly of you. We need your production.
Yeah. Keith B, Tyler Boyd or Sterling Shepard, half PPR. Give me Tyler Boyd here. Again, matchup is much better than Sterling Shepard versus the Rams. So give me Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I have a surprise for Tyler Boyd later, but I just don't trust the injury. I keep hammering a few points down. It's the Sterling Shepard injury. Tony, I think, will be the greater of the two. Shepard, I might feel like be like the guy who is there just to take the coverage away from Tony, because they are going against the Rams this weekend. If Jalen Ramsey sees on Tony or he stays on Shepard, someone else is going to be open on that team.
Yep, I agree. All right. Mike B, James Robinson is screwing me over. Yeah, he's screwing over a lot of people this week, Mike. Screwing over a lot of people, buddy.
It's Urban Meyer. He wants to grind out the win and go to a bar in Europe.
In London, eh? Yeah, I like it. All right, let's get into keep the questions coming. We'll answer them as we go. We're going to try to get to some questions as well when we got our guest Luke Sawhook coming on in about 5 minutes or so. But let's jump into a couple of our start sits this week. A big one for you, Stefan. This guy, coaching said he's going to get a full workload. He's ready to go. He's fired it up. Who is your number one start for week 6, buddy?
Now, he will not be another start for me ever going forward after today. It's just because of the injury, the ankle injury. The last week, he scored a touchdown with only 10 carries. It's Joe Mixon. I believe he's an RB1, RB2 all year long. It's just because of the injury. Again, the matchup, I'm hammering this matchup. I'm going DFS stack. I'm taking what I can. I think this is the game. He has 100 yards. I think he probably, for the first time, will break that 200 or that 2 touchdown mark as well. It just seems like he's back. They were very cautious with his injury last week. I just think fire up Joe Mixon this week, RB1, fire him all week, and then going forward this season, as long as he's healthy, he is an RB1, RB2 in your lineup.
Yep, I like the take, buddy. I'm firing up Joe Mixon with confidence this week. All right, on to a guy that we talked about a little bit with some of these questions. For me, a big start of the week is going to be Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Over the past 3 weeks, he's been a focal point in that Bills offense. They're top 12 in passing attempts, top 12 in passing yards, and they're about, I think, top 5 in passing TDs. Sanders, over the past 3 weeks, 222 yards, 4 TDs, 2 of them coming against the Chiefs in that Sunday night clash of AFC Super Bowl contenders. He put up a big game for you when you plug them into your lineup. Versus the Titans, the wide receivers are averaging 13.2 yards per catch, which is bottom 3 in the league against the wide receiver. So I'm good with firing them up. I'm good with firing up most of the offense of the Buffalo Bills this week. Maybe except Devin Singletary, but everyone else should be full goal for you. My week 6 projections for Emmanuel Sanders: 5 receptions, 70 yards, and a tutty. Fire him up, man. Bills Mafia.
I like that take, and I like how I like your Sanders start, because everyone's like Emmanuel Sanders, like he saw what happened last year with the Saints, but I like that.
Yeah.
Those stats you just rallied off, those are receiver 2, like beyond flex.
Some big numbers for him. Like you said, he's kind of taking over for Cole Beasley. So he is the wide receiver 2 in that offense, Stephon Diggs being the 1. He hasn't produced like Stephon Diggs should produce, but the advanced stats are there for Stephon Diggs. He's not a guy that you consider sitting at all, but you can feel comfortable firing up Emmanuel Sanders. Nick Spano, I'm going K Herbert over Javonte at flex, yay or nay. I'm yay with that. Herbert's going to have more of a workload. There's no one really there to share the ball with. So I'm okay with starting Herbert over Javonte this week.
I think I am too, honestly. It goes by elimination, like process of elimination. There's no Montgomery. There's no Williams. Herbert has to see at least, I think, the full workload, a workhorse workload, especially against the Packers defense. Javonte, he's a guy that we're just waiting to boom or bust. Like, is he going to be the guy for a second half? Is this the week he does it, or is this the week he splits 9 carries again? I'd be more safe with Herbert. It's more of a sure thing with Herbert than it is with Javonte, but I don't know. I feel like Javonte 1 week, we'll say it. We'll get it right.
His time will come. Exactly. It's like the rain dance, right? You dance until the rain comes, then you think the rain works, right?
But put it into the universe and manifest it.
That's the story of Javonte Williams. Brandon Kiernan, Cooks, Woods, or Tony? Woods. I think we answered this one, right? Woods.
Yep.
Let's go Woods. All right. Before we get into any start sits, we got a guest who's a big name in fantasy. He's a social media manager for Dynasty Nerds, FTN Network, and Predict Strike. He's a writer for the Fantasy Pros, and he's one of the fastest growing young names in the fantasy football Twitterverse. We are excited to have him on with us to discuss Week 6, answer some of your questions. But first things first, I really want to see Geno Smith lead the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then we get to see Luke eat a blazing hot wing. So, Luke, buddy, how's it going, man?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm Chris. That's Stefan. That's Birch Bombs. We are part of the uSTADIUM family over here.
Yeah, I'm very. I mean, I'm not really that scared. The Steelers should win tonight. But
Should
yeah,
win.
if you referred to it when I came on, I said on Twitter, I pinned this tweet on my account. If the Steelers lose, I'll go to B-Dubs and do the Blaze and Wing challenge, and I'll live stream it. So basically, I'll torture myself on the internet if we lose. So they better win.
Yeah, well, that's what the internet's good for, right?
Absolutely,
But,
yeah. It's a public place to be tortured in front of strangers and friends alike.
That's it. So I'm cheering for Seattle.
It's the content people want and dream of every day.
Yeah, exactly. So we got some questions for you, big guy.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
With the fantasy's top running backs going down, like Saquon, McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, pretty much a bunch of the top end picks for drafters this season, does it make more of a case for the zero running back strategy moving forward?
It actually does, big time in my opinion. I actually am not a big zero RB guy at all. But after looking at the draft board this year, kind of where players fell, who you could have taken in certain draft prices and costs, and where things are going, I don't love the value of running backs this year. I think that the zero RB strategy actually worked out really, really well if you pick the right players. I mean, obviously, if you pick the right players, any strategy goes well.
Yeah,
but I feel like if you followed the zero RB strategy, you had higher odds of winning so far this season as if you did not early on.
Yeah, you got to be really aggressive on the waivers. I mean, guys like Darrell Henderson, now Khalil Herbert, coming off Devontae Booker. Like, these are all targets that, as a zero RB strategy player, that you're going to want to, you would have hopefully have already picked up to kind of take those handcuffs away from the other guys. But man, it's really making a case, especially with a lot of these guys going RBBC. It's made a real big case for the strategy this year, at least.
For sure. And I mean, I'm actually kind of the opposite strategy when it comes to fantasy usually. And in some of the leagues, it's been working out for me really well. I'm more of the robust RB or the hero RB strategy kind of guy. This year, I in some cases went RB to start, or running back, tight ends. Like, I'm a Steelers fan, but non-biased. I was a huge Najee guy coming out in the season for fantasy. I thought he was going to be a stud. I had him ranked as my RB8 coming into the season, which was very high. He is producing right there right now, which is awesome. But I started off a ton of drafts with guys like McCaffrey and Najee and Swift. I started drafts. That's my best start I have. It's my family 12-team league. I have McCaffrey, Najee, and Swift, and that team is awesome. If McCaffrey comes back healthy, that team's going to crush this year.
Just a bunch of pass-catching running backs, man.
Absolutely.
PPR dream right there.
It's so nice, man. Yeah, I love that strategy, but I do recognize, of course, that the zero RB strategy worked really well this year, even though it feels gross.
It does.
It feels weird, unethical, but like it just.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to do it. I never have. Like, every time I draft, like, I want to build that balanced team or that RB heavy team because it provides more value for your team in trades, in my opinion. But zero RB, man, it produces results. I can't deny it.
I agree. Okay, on to this question. It's a little bit of a like a sleeper kind of question for you. Probably the fantasy game of the week: Baltimore versus the Chargers.
Dude, I love that game. I have it in like all my DFS.
It's a big one, but you can't pick Lamar, Herbert, Williams, Allen, Brown, or Andrews. Who are you starting and why? So who's your kind of sleeper player DFS start in this game that you might think go off?
Jared Cook's a really nice pick. I think it's going to be a super high scoring game. The Ravens are actually a decent tight end matchup in general. But Jared Cook, I mean, I think this game could be a 30-plus point scoring on both sides. I think it could be like a 60-point over-under kind of matchup. This game is going to be huge, in my opinion, for fantasy. I think in one of my hot takes yesterday, I said that I think Lamar and Justin Herbert are going to combine for 7 touchdowns total together. I think the game is going to be nasty. So, I mean, just getting any piece of the offense as you can. Jared Cook, especially in the tight ends, wasteland, I think he's a really solid dart throw this week.
You think Mike Williams has a Mike Williams day, or with the injury, do you think he kind of plays on a bit of a snap count and we're not going to see him too much more of a decoy?
I like him a lot. I don't really think he'll be a decoy. I think he'll be out there. If anything, they just lower his snap count. I'm obviously concerned about him retweaking his injury. But if you have Mike Williams, I don't think you can bench him. I mean, he's one of the highest upside players in fantasy football right now, arguably the highest upside, except for like Tyreek Hill at wide receiver.
Yeah, just a touchdown machine this year, man.
Absolutely.
Finally get to see Mike Williams come to life in fantasy football. We've been waiting so long, it feels like.
Yeah,
It's
it feels
finally
like
good to see.
forever.
As soon as he cut his hair, he's like he got all these powers.
Usually it's the other way around. You cut your hair and you lose all your powers, like Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, Sammy Watkins is crazy.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins, high ranked coming into the NFL. Now he's a journeyman. I liked him on KC. I liked his role on KC.
He's still a good player though. Like he's one of the examples of he's still a very quality NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, he's the consensus week 1 wide receiver start in fantasy football, is he not?
Absolutely.
Yes, week 1 and week 15 and 16 are the only time you want to start him.
In week 1?
He had like a 13, 14 point performance. And then he's been consistent. It's nothing like, let's start him every week. He's got like a 12, 13, but like now he's got the injury just in time for Rashad Bateman to come back. Kind of seems like he's just passing on the torch. Like, here, man, you can take the rest of the season. Sure. He does have more yards than Ridley too. Our little our big guy with the Ravens has our little stat of the day.
He had 13 points in week 1. That's not bad. That's
decent, man. Decent. All right, you good to answer some questions for some of the people watching, Luke? Absolutely. All right, let's get to it. We got a couple more questions for you, but we'll answer some viewer questions. Josh Hanser, Cortland Sutton, or Michael Pittman?
Ooh, I'm gonna take Cortland Sutton. I go talent when it's closer-ish, and I think Cortland Sutton's a much better wide receiver than Michael Pittman. No shade to Pittman, but Sutton's just a dog. He's super, super talented, and even last week against the Steelers, who have a pretty good defense against fantasy wide receivers, he still had a really good week. Cortland Sutton is just the default wide receiver one there, especially with Jerry Jeudy remaining on the sidelines. He's too good to pass up.
Yep, I agree with that take. Phantom Beast. Hunter Renfrow versus the Broncos, Julio versus the Bills, or Latavius Murray versus the Chargers, full PPR.
This isn't even close for me. It's got to be Julio Jones. He's by far. I mean, it's Julio Jones against Hunter Renfrow and Latavius Murray. I can't sit here and just playing Hunter Renfrow over Julio Jones. I can't do it.
Can't justify that. You can't justify that start sit. I get it.
Can't do it. I like it. Kevin Clark, Robinson got a TD. Let's go, saving everybody's day. I like it.
You gotta sweat it before you relax. He's not gonna give it to you right away. So.
Absolutely. You always have to sweat it. Always.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always.
All right. You got any week 6 must starts or must sits coming into this week?
Ooh, man. I made a start of the week's tweet a little while ago, but hot takes. I think Brandon Cooks is in for a big day against the Colts. I don't know why. I just think that Davis Mills took a big step forward last week against the Patriots, and I'm looking for him to continue on that game. I love Brandon Cooks. Some must starts. I mean, Kareem Hunt obviously.
Yeah.
Any piece of the Chargers, Ravens game, the Chargers and Ravens game. Any piece you can get in your lineup, put them in there, unless it's like the third string running back or something. Anything like that is crazy. We've got another question: Herbert or Dak? Sorry to interrupt you there, but I don't really have any major starts or sits. Herbert or Dak? I'm gonna go Justin Herbert on this one. Love me Herbie this week against the Ravens. I think they're gonna both him and Lamar are both gonna have huge games. I think.
Yeah, I like it. I like that take. Definitely.
Do you guys have any huge starts or sits this week?
Yeah, we got a couple we're going to get into. One of my big sits this week is Marquise Brown. One of my bold sits, hot take sits. Yeah, Marquise Brown. Just versus the Chargers defense in general. Their numbers versus the wide receiver positions are pretty stout. Wide receivers haven't had really much success versus the Chargers. So that's a big read. It's a bold sit. It's a hot take. But that's what we like to do here, man. We like to throw out those fire takes.
No, I get it. I understand looking at the matchup, but I can't do it with how high scoring I think the game's going to be for the
Yeah. That's the only thing that's kind of making me step back a bit on it. But if I had to pick one bold sit this week, for me it was Marquise.
Sure.
Let's get into. I got a little rapid fire. I'm gonna give you a name. You give me the first thing that pops into your head. All right.
Let's go.
All right. So Jalen Hurts,
Fantasy stud.
fantasy stud, eh? I
Love
like
that
it.
guy.
I mean,
Love
if
him.
he can rush the ball in, he's good. If
I
he's
know.
throwing,
Listen,
yeah.
this is why I love him so much. It feels like he's sucked recently. He has
Yeah.
not put up less than 20 fantasy points in a game this season.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a stud. Like,
Yeah,
even when he sucks, he still puts up at least 20 fantasy points a game. Like, he's the best fantasy quarterback you can ask for at his price.
The numbers don't lie either. He's right. I mean, I looked at last game. He had 115 was it passing yards, and he still had 27. Like, and
There you go.
I'm like, what? And then you look at his the rushing. So Miles Sanders has to be the sacrificial goat for him to be the top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think he put up 26 points after last game that he was terrible on Thursday night. 26 points for fantasy. That's a great week.
Great for fantasy, bad for a football team. I think I read a stat where he was
I'm
like
not
6 for 19 on passes beyond the line of scrimmage, which is not good at all.
Well, I think if I watched that game, I think a lot of the blame's on the offensive coordinator, honestly.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
scheming him well at all.
It goes around. He definitely can't do it himself, right? He's not the kind of guy that can do it himself.
I honestly don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's like top 25 at least, top 20-ish. I think he's definitely a startable quarterback for sure. Like, if I were the Eagles, I wouldn't look to replace him this year yet. I would wait, give him another year.
Oh, I think you just got to build around him more. I think the offense is still kind of recovering from the regime of Frank Reich, or who is it? Patterson, whatever his name is. Doug
Doug
Patterson. I think
Patterson.
I'm sorry. I think they're still recovering from him. So like, if I had to like make a bet, and to be honest with you guys, we're having like this going forward. It's like a take thing where it's like you make a take, bet some points. I personally would make a take that Hurts could be the quarterback for the next, say, 3 years or so if they play their cards right. But like you said, Luke, if they don't do right, maybe one more year and they got to ship him because they're just not – it looks good, but how many games can you really win the style that he's playing, you know?
Sure. I think he is a winning quarterback if they put the right pieces around him. I really just think he's kind of like an off-brand hybrid of Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. He can do the things you need to win games. He can make plays with his legs. I just think the offense needs some more pieces. They need to figure out what they want to do with their freaking running backs, man.
Their identity is not there for the running back. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a game running the ball like 5 times or whatever with Miles Sanders.
Thank you.
You need to change the scheme a little here. Something needs to change. They'll figure it out. I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. He actually, if you look at his stats, like he's passing the ball better than you would expect. As far as like advanced metrics go, I don't know. I still like Hurts. I think he has a good future still.
All right, on to the next player, Chuba Hubbard.
Okay, I like Chuba. Let's see. I just like the off the top here, just like a take about him instantly. It was unproven. I mean, he is talented. We saw it in college what he can do. Yeah. We just need to see him get some reps in and see what he actually is all about. So I'm really excited to see him play next 3 weeks and see what he can bring to the table, given the full opportunity.
All right, next guy, Mike Davis.
Gross.
Yeah, I think that's across the board.
He's a pass catcher, but Cordell Patterson pretty much took over his role and Julio Jones's role somehow at the same time. Pretty much completely neutralizing what we thought Mike Davis could have been for Atlanta this year, unfortunately.
I love it. I've been a big, as Chris knows, a big fan of Cordero. I preached him on the first day of our show, and I wanted to trade him in a few leagues, but you know what? I'm starting to be more and more of a believer because it's ugly, but it works.
I'm in on Cordero, honestly. I mean, the touchdowns are really high, which you don't love to see, but his usage when it comes to key situations, they go to him. I think he's legit, man. I do.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it. All right, next guy, Daniel Jones.
Gross, terrible real life quarterback. He's playable in fantasy weekly.
Yeah.
Because he runs.
I love it. You could be a bad quarterback in real life, but be a great fantasy stud.
Yeah, I think he sucks in real life. TBH.
Okay, Mike Williams.
This is a hot one. I think he's overrated, honestly, for fantasy. After we okay, I love him. Don't get me wrong. Always come. I think that going forward, he's a top 10, top 15 wide receiver weekly, right? I was big on selling high on Mike Williams around week 2 when he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR. My argument for that is he it was playing, and I think currently still is playing at his absolute ceiling. He's a very he is a player with an extensive injury history. I'm not saying he's injury prone. I don't want to label him that way, but he has an extensive injury history. It makes me a bit apprehensive. And we just have never seen Mike Williams do what Mike Williams is doing. That's obviously a great thing. He's having a breakout. Awesome. Love to see that. I think he could finish the year as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver. But after week 2, when he was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy, I'm going out and sending out offers for guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, etc., to try to capitalize on peak value.
Yep, I like it.
I like that.
Got 2 more for you, or 3 more for you. James Robinson.
Ooh, I like J-Rob. I think for J-Rob for fantasy, I think he's a sneaky value. Always. The argument for J-Rob is why I argued so hard for Najee this season for fantasy is because it doesn't matter if you're inefficient. With the volume the Jaguars give that man, especially if you're looking at last year, the volume that he gets in the Jaguars offense as their running back is super high. I mean, he's kind of a 1-year rental right now with ETN coming back as far as dynasty value goes, but this season, and he's still a top 15 running back in my mind.
Okay, last 2. Christian McCaffrey.
He's still the 101 for me. I mean, injury concerns suck, but when he gets back, he's still going to put up like 25 points a game. So
putting up QB numbers.
So really quickly, next year, do you take him 1 or do you take Henry 1? If Henry finishes off with, say, a 17, 18-yard 100 season, 12 touchdowns, McCaffrey comes back, plays a little bit of a season, not too crazy. Going into the next draft, are you taking Henry or are you taking McCaffrey at 1? PPR or half PPR?
Okay, so if Derrick Henry finishes as the RB1, then I'll probably consider him as the 101 instead. But if McCaffrey keeps coming back and he plays 8 games this season and then he still averages Christian McCaffrey numbers, he will still be the 101 for me. Just because Derrick Henry's age, I hate the argument that he's going to fall off a cliff, but it's true. It's going to happen eventually. And it is scary to take him because knowing if he loses a step on the ground, even though he's going to be really good still, he could finish as like the RB10, which is gross. Christian McCaffrey, if healthy, the combined workload, his age, the running usage, I think he has much more longer of a shelf life for fantasy, and he's going to stay elite for a much longer time.
Right on. Okay, last one. Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer
can love go to HE double hockey sticks hell, my man. He's a bad head coach and he's a bad person, and I honestly just think he belongs in college football. He just belongs in college. He's another example of the Chip Kellys. I think Nick Saban made the transition to the NFL once before as well. It's all just college coaches. You can be a great college head coach. Come to the NFL, it's completely different, man. I mean, it's just so different, and I just don't think he's cut out for it. Honestly, I just don't think he can handle losing in the way that you need to in the NFL, especially when you're rebuilding a young team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think he needs to go back to the NCAA.
So what's your hot take then? Do you think he stays? So if we're like a hot take thing where you could say, Bearish, I bet you in a year he's back in USC, or I bet you he's back in a different NFL team. What's your quick take on that?
I think he's going to finish the season with Jacksonville, and this offseason he'll be fired. And then he won't coach next season for a college team, but he will the season after that. He'll take a season off, and then he'll come back to college.
Okay.
That's my
I
guess.
like that take. Okay. I respect that.
And our last question for you before we get into any more viewer questions before you take off. What is your prized football sports card that you got right now?
Let me go get it.
Oh,
you're going to see it. I like it. I like it. What it is. What do you think it is? A Herbert card?
Might be the not a Mahomes rookie.
No, I don't have
Mahomes card.
It's not football, actually. I pulled this one last night. It's a silver Prism Anthony Edwards rookie card.
No way.
Nice.
He was the number 1 draft pick last. You can't see it shine in this, but
it's nice.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite right now. But my other favorites, I got some Herbert rookies that I love. I'll actually just go get it real quick because it's more fun. Hang on.
Show us the money. I mean, cards right now are through the roof.
This one is my favorite Herbert I have. It's a blue Heifer rated rookie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Nice. Yeah. It's like blue and kind of like shines. You can't really see it on camera, unfortunately, with the glare.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's a great one. I love it because it's kind of a team color match, which is big in sports cards. The blue with the blue jersey. It makes it feel valuable too, which I love, obviously. But yeah, I have so many cards that I love, but those are probably my 2 favorite ones. I also have one more cool one. Hang on.
Yeah, right on.
This
We'll
is
answer a question
weird,
here.
but it's not your normal sports card. But I went to my local card shop the other day, and they had this, and I couldn't leave without getting it. It's a rookie LeBron jumbo
Ooh, look at that
promo
thing.
card.
Oh, right on. Rookie LeBron. Woo.
It's not worth that much. I think it'll.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like it's something.
It's a nice thing to have.
As a collector, it's one of those ones that you want in your collection,
No,
right?
it's just sick. You know, I think I forget if it was $80 or $40. One of those two. It's somewhere in there. Less than $100. It's just super cool though, and like over time, it has to go up in value. It's a LeBron James rookie, you know.
Yeah,
I just thought the whole jumbo card thing was cool. I like have it over there. It's like on my wall. But yeah, those are probably my favorite ones. I don't really have any crazy autographs or anything, but maybe someday.
Soon, man. Soon. All right. Before we let you go, are you good to answer a couple more questions?
Oh hell yeah! I'm not doing anything until kickoff.
All right, awesome. Mike B, this isn't a fantasy question, but since you guys are talking about it,
Sure.
who has a better career, Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts?
Mike, I love Jalen Hurts, man, but it's Justin Fields by a country mile. Like it's not even close as far as ceiling wise goes. Justin Fields is way more polished. He has all the tools you want, and Justin Fields could develop into like Russell Wilson. Hurts could develop into at best a Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson-ish kind of player, which is great. But,
yeah,
no Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. Harry Wolf, Aaron Jones, and Rondale Moore for Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon
in a trade. Give me Kareem Hunt and Joe Mixon all day.
Yeah, give me that side definitely. Yep.
If it's for this week, real quickly, just keep a little note. Kareem Hunt is on a snap count a little bit. They said they want to limit his touches with the injuries, and it's a short week going into Thursday. So take it, start Joe Mixon. Be wary in starting Kareem Hunt. I've just, like I said, injuries sometimes scare me a little bit.
I'm playing him still though with Chubb out personally. Is it a scam or fair? I think it's a pretty big win for the Mixon side, but I think it's definitely not like questionable of a veto or anything. Like I understand where the other side's coming from for sure. It's fair enough. For sure.
I have a thing for vetoing trades in leagues, but that's a different show.
Eduardo Baskerville, flex, Claypool or Connor? I mean, for me, I think it's Claypool there, right?
Look, the Cardinals have the Browns, right? Yeah, I'll take Claypool.
100%. Claypool seems to be the guy with the Juju out. No offense to the jersey.
No.
Juju being out, I think Claypool and
I love
Johnson.
No, I love all my boys. Demetric Felton worth a flex spot. Honestly, couldn't care less. If I'm being honest.
Yep.
Stay away. I'm sorry. I gotta give you my thing. Just stay away.
Yeah, I'm not touching him. Sorry.
Frankie V, what is the deal with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams? How do you see that time sharing working out? I mean, pretty much like it is now. It's split down the middle. No guy has the upper hand over the other. Yeah. I mean, Javonte owners are waiting for a Melvin Gordon injury, and Melvin Gordon owners are waiting for a Javonte injury. So it's kind of 50-50 for me right now.
It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're just sitting there pointing at each other and saying, "You're supposed to be hurt. No, you're supposed to be hurt."
I mean, I think you honestly can just lock in both these guys for 8 to 12 points a week and see what happens. One of them is going to rip off a big run. One of them is going to get a touchdown. They're both comfortable RB2-ish, flex-ish plays for me every week. I'm more confident in Gordon over Javonte at the moment.
At the moment,
because I feel like he's their guy kind of. But I love them both. You can definitely play both weekly.
Craps teacher, I'm thinking about trading Joe Mixon for Keenan Allen in a 10-team half-point league.
Don't do it.
Don't. Yeah, running backs are very scarce. They are a dime. If you can find one, you got to keep it. Receivers, you can literally stream every week. We had some no name on the Titan or the Houston Texans last week go for how many yards? Chris Conley went for how many yards?
Chris Moore, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Point proven there.
Yeah, we don't even know who they were, but they had a great.
Exactly.
Just go on a dartboard, get a bunch of random waiver wire names, start throwing darts, and just keep your Joe Mixon.
Yeah, keep Mixon there.
Definitely take Mixon for sure.
Awesome, Luke. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Let the viewers know where they can find you across Twitter. Let them know what you got going on before you take off.
Of course. Just head over to my Twitter. It's just at Luke Sawhook. It's just exactly how it's spelled on the screen. It's just one little phrase, at Luke Sawhook, all lowercase. You'll find all my content from there. You will see me eating blazing wings on a live stream if the Steelers lose. It won't be today, probably be tomorrow. But if they lose, I don't want them to. But if they do, also if you do like sports cards, we're doing crazy box breaks and stuff on a live stream app called Whatnots for sports cards only, starting tomorrow night, which is gonna be really fun. Give us a hot take for today.
Give us something. Make us mad. Say something.
Yeah, so we at uSTADIUM, we've been testing this new feature, the takes feature, where you're going to be able to give your sports take, your hot takes, and then be able to bet on them. One of my hot takes is Tom Brady goes for 5,555 TDs. Ooh. But so something along the lines of that. What is your week 6 hottest take?
I made a whole tweet of well, one of my takes is not probably happening right now. It was going to be this was from a couple days ago. James Robinson has a top 5 week against the Dolphins. Probably not going to happen. Brandon Cooks goes for over 100 yards against the Colts. Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson combined for 7 total touchdowns tonight. Those were like my 3 hot takes of the week. My hot take of the season, coming into the season, the one that I'm kind of throwing away, but I was a big fan of this offseason was Burrow was going to have a better fantasy season than Herbert. Hot take. That was one of them. He's actually having a good year.
I would have bet on that too with you, and I would have taken that money with you.
It's fun. It was a fun one. I liked it a lot, but it's not going to happen. One that that is happening right now that I was a big fan of that people didn't like was Najee Harris outscoring Aaron Jones. That's happening. Love that. Another one was CeeDee Lamb over Justin Jefferson, which still could happen, but probably not. But yeah, those are kind of my hot takes. I don't really have anything else crazy. Taylor Heineke is a huge sneaky play this week against the Chiefs. Keep an eye on him. Mahomes numbers today versus Washington football team. He's going to go for 297, 2 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to have that big of a game. I think they're going to run the ball more. I think they're going to get up early. Just my take.
I like it. I like it. Again, thanks for joining. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'd love to come back on anytime, man.
Yeah, anytime. We'll have you anytime. Looking forward to you sweating your face off eating those wings, buddy.
I've never attempted it. I like spicy food, but I've never gone for anything like crazy hot or done any challenges or like anything that's like intentionally painful for spice. So it would be my first experience with that. So I'm sure it would go really well for me. You know, it'd be a great time. So yeah, really nice meeting you guys on the stream here. Having me on.
Thank you, Luke.
Love to come back on anytime you guys would like to have me.
Have us up. We'll coordinate it whenever you want.
Sounds good, man. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you later.
You
right on. Again, you can find Luke Sawhook at Luke Sawhook on Twitter. He's firing off tweets, multiple tweets per day. He's a great follow. And again, blazing wings, man. Can't go Seattle.
I haven't been a parlay, so my hot take is Seattle and Geno Smith better crush it.
Yeah. All right. We got a couple more starts and sits to get into. Again, if you're watching, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, head over to the uSTADIUM app. If we don't get to your questions, we'll get to them there. You find the fantasy stadium on there, and we'll answer all your questions. But moving forward, Bursch, you're starting. We talked about him a little bit in some of these questions. We talked about him with Luke, but one of the Broncos running backs is a start for you this week. Tell us why he is.
This is like I said, I want to keep saying it. I won't say him every week, but I want Javonte Williams to prove me right for the first time. Please. We've seen it. Melvin Gordon is playing this week, but he has the hip injury. Just take the running. It's yours. Take it. Run with it. Give me a 15, 20 carry game. Give me 80 to 100 yards and a touchdown. Just solidify that you are the back. And I think finally, I'm going to say it, it will be the week. Javonte Williams furthers himself from Melvin Gordon, and he takes that spot. I think this is it. This is the week we stop crying wolf. This is going to be my hot take. If I'm going to bet someone, and if I wish we had it up right now, I would bet all my uSTADIUM points that he outscores Melvin Gordon by a smooth 5 to 10 point margin.
Ooh. I like it.
That's my hot take of the week.
I think I would buy into that take. That's for sure. I think I would buy into that too. One of the starts for me this week is a tight end from the Dallas Cowboys, and it's not Blake Jarwin. It's Dalton Schultz. He's been a steady producer for the Dallas Cowboys through 5 weeks. He's the clear-cut tight end 1 in that room over Blake Jarwin. He's averaging 14.4 points per game, and he's done that mostly in the 3 games. He's seen 23 targets, and he's caught 3 TDs. The Giants, he saw his best snap share against the Giants, 90%. So big day for Dalton Schultz this week. He's become a safety blanket for Dak when Cooper and Lamb just aren't available for him to throw to. He's 7th at the position in targets, 5th in target share, and he's great after the catch. And when you really break down his game fantasy-wise, Dalton Schultz is first in fantasy points per touch at the tight end position. So he's a great value. Most people probably picked him up off waivers to be their starting tight end. Fire him up this week. My week 6 projections: 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown for Dalton Schultz.
Oh, I love that. I love that set line.
I like Schultz. I like Schultz a lot, but really like him this week.
I don't know. Ever since he changed up his appearance, he had the tapes now. He's got like more of a swagger look. He's like now he's like established himself.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into a couple sits here. There's 3 wide receivers in the Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver room. Probably all can be startable, but this week you're sitting one of them. What is the one you're sitting?
It's not the guy from LSU. It's not the guy from Clemson. It's going to be Tyler Boyd. It consistently rings his name. He's consistent. He's the guy. Before this year, he was getting fed targets. He phased AJ Green out of Cincinnati. He phased Auden Tate out. This guy is the guy. But it just seems Jamar Chase, Higgins is back to 100%. It seems like now they are the 2 guys that Joe Burrow goes to. Boyd will be in there. He's having a good season. I just believe that with all the weapons, like I said, it's the MIXON, Higgins, Jamar Chase. I think Tyler Boyd has a subpar game. I'm not saying for him to get anything less than 5. I just think he doesn't get you the points that you want this week. I have a stat line of him of getting 4 catches, 30 to 40 yards, and I don't see a touchdown this week. I don't know. It's not that I don't hate him. I just don't think it's a great game script for him. I think with the MIXON having a full workload, Jamar Chase being Jamar Chase, and Higgins, like I said, back. This week, I'm okay with benching him. It's maybe not the most ideal bench. I know I have some people, say, oh, no. But, hey, you know what? It's one of my sits. It was almost a bold sit, but I think this is the week you would be safe benching Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Like you said, I agree with most of what you're saying there. The matchup is good, but I just don't know if the game script is going to allow 3 wide receivers in that offense to produce for you fantasy-wise.
And a sprinkle of Uzoma kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And plus MIXON back in the fold, healthy MIXON. I mean, well, he wasn't great when the whole offense was running in the beginning of the year. Some of the offense went down, and Tyler Boyd stepped up. We'll see if he goes back to that early role. One of the sits for me, I'm sitting quarterback Justin Fields versus the Green Bay Packers. Since Lazar has taken over the play calling duties, he's been very conservative with the rookie quarterback. The Packers are missing Jair Alexander. They are missing Zadarius Smith, but I still see the offense taking a conservative role with Fields. The Packers are 9th in terms of yards against. So that's pretty good considering that they are missing 2 of their defensive weapons. So they are still limiting the passing game against. They aren't really utilizing his ability to rush the ball either. He's only had 20 attempts for 59 yards. So he's been limited in that aspect. It's like they're holding him back a bit because they don't want him to get hurt, which is fair. I mean, could be the future of the organization. And he's only had 13 deep ball attempts. That's less than 3 per game. So that's a bit of a red flag for me. He's not airing the ball out, which kind of hurts the value of a Darnell Mooney, who's a guy that stretches the field. But it could be something that they adjust playing the Packers, but I just don't see it happening this week. My week 6 projections for Justin Fields, 200 yards, a TD, and about 25 rushing yards mixed in with an interception.
Is he still nursing that ankle injury from last week, I think?
It's still a bit of an issue, but yeah, so that might be another reason why he's not going to run the ball a lot moving forward. We did talk about I talked about my bold sit. Let's get into some of our sleeper starts and our bold sits. One of your sleeper starts is a guy who's going to be thrust into opportunity for the Detroit Lions because there's no one really else there to catch the ball. It's AMON-RA St. Brown. Stefan, let us know why AMON-RA is a sleeper start for fantasy owners this week, man.
Name me another receiver on that team before you name anyone else. Name me another tight end that's 100%. Yeah, Hawkinson is a true questionable. He had a knee injury. He was truly questionable. He did go in today. It's questionable. DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Usually they clear that questionable tag before game day. They didn't clear it this time. It just I'm not going to start him. I'm personally have him in a league where I do. I have him in somewhere I don't. But I truly think that if you want a DFS lineup stack, if you want to flex, you want someone that has had 15 targets or 15 catches in the last 2 games and almost 20 targets, AMON-RA St. Brown. They don't have no Tyrell Williams. Quintez Cephas is out for the whole year.
Yeah.
Who else is I really don't know another receiver on that team. You got Hawkinson, like I said, true questionable. Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, they're all expected to play. I just don't understand. Oh, Khalif Raymond.
Raymond.
So you got Khalif Raymond and you got AMON-RA St. Brown. I'm going with a rookie this week. I know, Raw. It's not easy. It's ugly, but it's Cincinnati, you know. They don't have the best corner room in the league. They don't have the best linebacking core in the league. I think he'll get you at least 7 catches, 60 to 70 yards, and I would say 0.5 on a touchdown. So a good flex number. I just think that, like you said, this the position, it's the situation. There's no one else on that team. There are 4 other guys that are all questionable that'll catch the ball. I think he's the only healthy guy, and Jared Goff could see a decent day with him, at least. Hopefully I'm right. I've had these sleeper starts right a few times. Let's continue this trend.
Keep the train rolling. I like it. One of my sleeper starts this week, or my sleeper start this week, is tight end from the Washington football team, Ricky Seals-Jones. In Washington's first game without Logan Thomas, who's on the IR with a hamstring injury, Seals-Jones caught 5 of 8 targets, 41 yards. Not the greatest point total, but he was facing a good defense. He still finished as a top 14 tight end in PPR leagues. Again, he played a good defense this week. He's kind of playing a not so good defense in the Kansas City Chiefs, who have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends. That with the receiving core in shambles. McLaurin had a couple DNPs. He was limited practice. Curtis Samuel's out. De'Ami Brown has been limited all week. Like I said, Logan Thomas is out. So he is one of the few healthy pass catchers on that team that's left. My week 6 bold projection for Ricky Seals-Jones, and this is going to be as bold as it gets for a tight end in Washington. 6 receptions, 60 yards, and 2 tutties for Ricky Seals-Jones against the Chiefs defense, who hasn't been great against the tight end, man.
That is 2 tutties?
2 tutties for Ricky Seals, man. He's got the 2 last names, Seals-Jones, so I give a touchdown for each. It's good analysis, right?
I love it.
All right, we got our sleeper starts. Let's get into some bold sits before we close out the show here. Again, guys, if you got any questions, post them up. We'll answer your questions. The ones we don't get to, head over to the uSTADIUM app, post them in there, and we'll get to as much as we can before these games start. Mike B, I'm really torn on who I go with at flex. T. Higgins, Khalil Herbert, or Emmanuel Sanders. Give me T. Higgins there.
T. Higgins all the way.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Mike. All right, let's get into our bold sits of the week. I mean, these have not been going good for me at all, so just do the opposite of what I'm telling you.
I was going to say, start the opposite of what this man wants to do.
I have reasons why I'm sitting these guys. It's not just I'm throwing crap at the wall, but let's move into these. Your bold sit, we both got 2 wide receivers. Your bold sit's a big one. He wasn't a snap count last week. This week, maybe see a full workload. I don't know what to expect out of the passing game.
I'm gonna get
your bold sit is AJ Brown.
Yes. Now, give me, before I get my hate mail in the Twitter, all that kind of stuff, give me 2 seconds to just tell you why. Buffalo has one of the best defenses pass-wise. They're not – look what happened with the Chiefs. Mahomes looked human. He looked like a regular quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is struggling. A.J. Brown is still coming off the injury. He is going to be on a snap count or on some kind of a pitch count until week 10, so they will be easing him in. Julio is active. Henry demands 30 carries. I think I'm okay with this week, especially in a Monday night football game against, like I said, that stout defense in Buffalo. I'm okay with setting him. Just put him down, let him relax a little bit, let those knees take a little bit off. A.J. Brown, and I know I'm going to be getting a lot of crap. I know, but just
That's what these bullshits are about.
Right.
Let's go.
I can go back and look at my track record, but this is one I'm okay with. I have him in 2 leagues. Just let him sit. Let that injury subside a little bit. The hamstring injuries are the worst injuries in the NFL to me. They're the hardest to overcome. They're the hardest to recover from outside of like actual sprains and breaks.
Especially for receivers, man. Yeah.
And when a guy that's this built this big, the guy that's this active, he needs to be careful. Just set him this week. Hey, thank me later or hate me later. But you know what? I think you're going to be thanking me later for this one.
That's it. So I like it. It's going to be hard to put these guys on the bench, but I like it. If you're one of those teams that's, again, 1-4, 0-5, and you're trying to do something drastic to make a push to win a week, to scratch and claw your way up into the playoff spot, you know, these might be the moves that you want to make. It's hard to sit these studs. You always want to start your studs, but they haven't really been producing. Other than this guy, he's been producing steady. But for me, he's my bold sit of the week, and it's wide receiver Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown has been the Rodney Dangerfield of fantasy football. If no one knows who Rodney Dangerfield is, YouTube that guy. He gets absolutely no respect. Over the past 11 weeks, going back into last year, he's been steady producer. He's averaging 15.76 fantasy points through that span. He's been a steady guy.
I knew it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah. But the one thing that's going to put a damper on Hollywood Brown's day is the Los Angeles Superchargers have allowed the 4th lowest catch rate. They are 2nd lowest in receiving yards and 1st overall in fewest points allowed to the position. Bateman coming into the game. Andrews soaking up targets. This game has the opportunity to turn into a shootout, but the Ravens scoring is going to come from the ground and the tight end. At least my perspective of it, that's where that's going to come from. My week 6 projections for Marquise Brown, 5 catches, 65 yards. So not a great day. Decent day, but not a great day.
I like it because you know what? We're growing on big this week. It's Marquise Brown, and it's the Brown. It's Brown times 2. AJ Brown, Marquise Brown.
Yeah,
we're okay with it.
Yeah, last week we were to start the Browns. This week sit the Browns. But I like it. We have any more questions here we can get to before we close off the show?
And like I said, please, guys, we have until 1 p.m. Send us your screenshots, send us your line, anything you want. We will do whatever we can to make sure we get the 1 o'clock questions out of the way, and the 4 o'clock questions will answer throughout the day. Please, we have nothing else to do. We watch Red Zone for 7 hours a day every Sunday. So
I'm happy my family's into football, so we all get the enjoyment of watching football together. So I kind of like brainwashed them a little bit with that.
I'm doing the same thing with mine.
Any bets for today? Oh, I try to not. I don't bet too much on football as a whole. For me, fantasy is where I go. I play the DFS. A big DFS. You got a big DFS start for today? Is there a guy that some people are sleeping on that you think might end up having a big day?
Khalil Herbert. I don't know if they bumped up his numbers. I think he's in line for a good day. That Packers run defense isn't the best. The Bears know to run the best. That would be my one DFS lineup, like guy I would want to plug in. Even Joe Burrow too as well. Like I'm Joe Burrow, Khalil Herbert. Those are 2 guys I want to put in. Matchups say they're gonna have a good day. If there was one bet though that I would take in the NFL today, it's gonna be the Browns are gonna beat the Cardinals, ruin that perfect season. I know. I think the Browns come in.
I like it though.
I think, honestly, also the Panthers knock out the Vikings, and I think the Giants cover the -8. Or actually, sorry, the Giants will cover the spread against the Rams this week. Sorry, Jack. I know you love the Rams. I know the Giants suck. But if those were the bets I wanted to go with, it's Giants plus 7.5, Panthers to beat the Vikings at +2, and then I'm taking the Cleveland Browns to -3 against the Cardinals.
Awesome. We just want to thank everyone who watched, who joined in, liked the stream, subscribe to the page. I want to thank Luke Sawhook for coming on. Again, at Luke Sawhook is his Twitter handle. Go over there. If the Steelers end up losing, you're going to see him eat some blazing hot wings. And Stefan, let them know where they can find you. There it is.
Twitter.
Hirsch
right
Bombs.
here. Find us on uSTADIUM. Find me on
That's
Twitter.
it.
Like I said, I have nothing better to do than answer questions, fantasy football questions. Twitter, uSTADIUM. Even if it's 12 o'clock at night, I'll answer a question. It's the best of my knowledge. If you want to listen, go ahead. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I will give you the best knowledge and hopefully win you some leagues.
There we go. All our social handles are in the description. App links are in the description. Thank you for joining for week 6.